Yeah, apparently that's not that. And again, from what I've read, I've never been to Turkey, and I don't understand their culture or know it intimately. But I don't think it would have as bad of a rap based on how often it happens.
Yeah.
So he said he attempted to rape her and that she immediately pulled pepper spray out of her bag and sprayed him in the eye, and that he was so outraged that he stabbed her multiple times in response and then beat her to death with an iron rod that he kept on the bus, like as a just in case.
Jesus Christ.
So he told them
just in case I try to rape someone and they fight back, you fucking piece of shit.
Yeah, just in case you come into that moment, right?
Beat this fucker with a tire iron to death.
So
I'm not sure.
So immediately, Ahmet, that's the driver's name, Ahmet panicked when he beat her to death and called his dad and a friend of his named Faith to help him clean up the scene. So they came. This is all what Ahmet is telling the gendarme. His friend and his dad came, and they drove into a nearby forest to dispose of the body. While they were covering up the act, Ahmet told them everything, and that she had scratched his face in the process of in self-defense, and that he was worried that his DNA would be under her fingernails. So this is a little graphic, but they cut off her hands and tried to burn them because they were afraid his evidence would be under her fingernails, which if you're going to tell them anyway, dude, you obviously didn't keep this secret.
Also, it's hard to believe that that's the first time.
Yeah.
Whichever one of the three of them decided to cut off her hands, this cannot be their first attack, possibly their first murder, because that's not something a normal fucking person thinks of.
I don't think the normal person, unless you're like us into true crime, would think, oh, not that we would ever do anything like this.
Yeah, I mean, normal people also don't murder, but
yeah, but you wouldn't think well, let's dispose of her fingernails. We have to cut off her hands. That is not a normal thought process in a second degree murder, which he's claiming this is second degree by how he's describing it, right? So they cut off her hands, and then they attempt to burn her body and leave it near a creek on the outskirts of Mersin in the woods. So after Ahmet told the gendarme and the police were able to locate Ozgecan's body. So her body was so badly burnt that she was not identifiable. However, the hat that was found on the bus was positively identified as hers by her father. And they were able to locate her hands, which did, in fact, have Ahmet's DNA under the fingernails. In Turkey, defendants actually have to have lawyers for the prosecution to begin. You can't be your own defense. However, every single lawyer, which there were 1,600 lawyers, in Mersin all said that they refused to represent, quote, that brutal savage, which that term doesn't necessarily feel great to me. But I think that's hilarious that the entire town was like, no, thanks, we're not going to represent him.
That's also very different for things I'm going to talk about in my case, which is good.
I wonder if that's because this is a big metropolis, travel touristy city. I don't know.
It'll make more sense when I when I get to my thing, the thing that I talk about the thing.
It's your turn.
It'll make more sense when it's my turn. When it's my turn to talk, and
we say, hooray! Nobody would represent him, except that stalled the entire case because they can't start until he has somebody to represent him.
I'll represent you, and I'll try my best to make you lose.
I'm gonna try really hard to win.
Wink, wink.
Yeah, elbow, elbow. So a few days later, Ahmet decided to change his testimony. He said he was drunk and he didn't fully understand what he was doing, and he said he actually didn't have any sexual intention at all. And it was Ozgecan who started the physical altercation because he refused to take a shortcut. So she started to beat him. Excuse me. He said she was so furious because she had already paid him 100 liras to take the shortcut. So she felt cheated.
He's 100 liras.
He's a liar.
His pants are on fire.
But then her parents were like, oh, yeah? Well, no, because we only gave her 20 liras, so nice try. She didn't even have 100 liras. So Ahmet's father, one of the guys who was there, allegedly.
Who should also be charged.
Yes, said he thought, because he was interrogated too, he said he thought that there had been some fight or something when his son called, because he said his son was in panic mode. And he said there was some fight, but he had no idea it was a murder. He said he got there to help with whatever fight had taken place. And that he came onto the scene of her mutilated body. And he was like, no, I don't want any part of this. He said Ahmet wanted to store the body at his house, at the dad's house, And the dad was like, absolutely not. So instead of that, they decided to burn her and her belongings for getting
I want
her
no
hat.
part of this. You can't keep it at my house, but I'll help you burn it.
Yes.
And not tell the police.
Yeah. So, and he's like, and also I didn't have any part in cutting off her hands. Like I had no part of any of that. So a few days later, the autopsy results were in. And Ozgecan, it showed Ozgecan, yes, was badly burned. She had stab wounds and fatal cuts, particularly around her neck. She had blunt force trauma, which was in line with what Ahmet said, and bruises on her body. There were no signs of rape detected, which follows Ahmet's original story and confession as well. So the trial finally began in June, and this happened that previous October. And the attorney asked for life imprisonment for the three men. He was like, I don't care who did what. Like, you all need to go to jail forever.
Yeah, absolutely.
So after some postponements, which it's like one of those cases where the trial is like longer than anything. And it's like, well, then it was postponed because this. And then that, like, that stuff doesn't
fucking
thrill
Michael
me.
Peterson's case.
Yeah, it doesn't thrill me. Like, I don't want to share all that. But anyway, so there were some postponements. So the trial concluded on December 3rd of 2016. So over a year later. The men were all...
I thought in the beginning you said this was 1995.
That's when she was born. This happened in 2015.
Oh.
This is a pretty recent case, yeah. So she was born in 95. This happened in 2015.
Okay.
So a year later in 2016, the men were all given life sentences without the possibility of parole. But this case wasn't really over. So there's no twist, but this case caused a ton of Turkish media and social attention. Violence against women is a huge issue in Turkey, which I think Caitlin will probably get into. And this case caused a public outcry and street protests through the country. There were tons of protests and demonstrations. One had over 1,000 people, and it was a march where they actually didn't let men join the march at all. They were like, yeah, you can't come, it's women only. So the prime minister publicly condemned the murder, which was like a big win for the women of the country to publicly condemn this young female being murdered. And they named a youth center after Ozgecan. The university she attended named the psychology lab after her. The president of Turkey had a different opinion, saying that riots and protests were a cultural offense, quote unquote, and that women are entrusted to men by God. Nobody liked that response. Well, a lot of people. A lot of people liked that response, but no good people.
49% of the population liked that response.
None of the good people liked it. So this case also lit the fire for a social media campaign with the hashtag, which I'm going to say this wrong, Senyanlat, which means you must also tell your own story. It's kind of like Me Too, or like, share your story. So February 16th became, you good? Oh, your teeth.
Yeah, every once in a while I get this like really sharp. I've never had tooth pain.
Oh, I have.
Like I've had like jaw pain and stuff, but literally it's hard to describe pain in your tooth. And then it goes away.
Yeah, it feels, I can't explain it either.
You can't explain it because a tooth isn't something you feel.
It feels like a bunch of cold air, like just like shooting. Like it's a shooting pain, right? It feels very sharp and shooting.
Very sharp. And then it goes away.
Yeah.
So all in all, my experience wasn't bad, but yeah, it's over.
So,
sorry.
No, you're fine.
It just hit me like, man.
The date, February 16th, became dubbed Black Monday, where citizens wear black to raise awareness against violence for women. And women in Tarsus, which was that neighboring city, stated that they'd never use minibus ever again after this, like the service in the town. So many people were like, we're not using minibus ever again. A petition started to prevent reducing sentences of perpetrators of violent and murder and assault against women. This petition got over 700,000 signatures in 48 hours and became the most popular petition in Turkey's history, ending with over 1.25 million signatures. So that year, which this is another like tragedy of the case, because in cases of murder, I truly believe no one wins. That year, Ahmet was shot in prison, the bus driver, along with his dad. They were both shot. His dad survived. Ahmet died. And the same thing happened. All the cemeteries refused to take Ahmet's body. So he resides in an undisclosed site.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I'm okay with the body part. So, the body part. But that's the terrible story of Ozgecan.
Yeah. And Sarah's right, and I'll talk more about this, but when I was trying to find cases in Turkey, and Sarah and I were texting about this the other day, every fucking case is like this.
Oh, yeah.
I'll get more into it. Let's grab another beer. I'm going to get some water and then...
Yeah.
So for the second case that's mine, I am drinking white wine.
Through a bamboo straw.
Sarah, what are you going to drink?
Well, I'm drinking
You dumb bitch who can drink beer. I'm just kidding.
Excuse me. I'm really hiccupy today.
Whatever, yellow teeth. Just
I
kidding.
know. No, it's true. But I will probably never get my teeth whitened because I have so many, long story that I will not get into. I have so many fillings that like I know fillings can't go whiter past the point they were when you got them. That it's like that's as white as my teeth could ever go anyways because I have fillings all over all my front teeth.
It's funny though. So I got my teeth whitened at like noon today. And so like I just had some like noodles earlier with like some parm cheese, like, you know, just eating white food. And then I'll have like yogurt for breakfast. But it's only 24 hours. So I'm like, I'm going to get water. And Sarah goes, oh, I have Gatorade. And I was like, no, it's not white. And she goes, oh, I couldn't do this. I'm like, it's 24 hours of like yogurt and water and pasta.
I can't do it. I'm having the cream ale from Laughing Dog Brewing Company. I don't think we've had something from Laughing Dog. If we have, it's been one thing. So this is a classic Laughing Dog brew from Ponderay, Idaho. And it has little evergreens on it with a little dog chasing a frisbee. Super cute. Oh, there's a phone number on it. Should we call them right now?
No.
It's 4% alcohol.
Should we call and bark at them?
My work, we were playing this game where we have to share our, this is a short tangent, we have to share our nicknames we've had. And I told Evan earlier, I was like, that's my husband. I was like, I don't have any nicknames, right? He's like, no, I'm sure you have some. And I was like, the cats call me meow. They call me that. Anyways, this is a traditional cream ale fermented with ale and lager yeasts. So let's open her up. Meow. That's what they call me here in my home.
You're so weird.
All right. Bon appetit.
Bone apple teeth. My white wine tastes like white wine. What does your beer taste like?
Tootsie Rolls.
I'm going to have to get that one again to try it. Is it good?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's it tastes like candy kind of. It's really, do you want to try it?
No. It's brown.
Oh my God. I thought you meant because of COVID. I'm like, I haven't been anywhere.
No, because it's brown. Why do you think I'm drinking white wine?
I can't do this. I told you a minute ago. I still can't do it.
Actually, earlier when I got home, I've never done anything like this. I'm not someone who like, I barely fucking wax my eyebrows or like wear eyeshadow. So I guess I'm not, I don't know. I'm not someone who like goes, but I was like, I want white teeth.
Yeah. White teeth sounds nice.
Until you have to eat white food for 24 hours. I totally want to get a fucking like vanilla milkshake on my way home. But it's not just white food. You're also not supposed to have sugar. This is like a diet. I should just get my teeth whitened every day.
They're just going to like shine so bright you blind people.
Like that episode of Friends when Ross gets his teeth whitened.
Well, I was going to say, but I was going to say like when a guy asks you to smile, just like blind them.
No, that did you see that episode? And then he goes on the date with the girl who has a black light and he opens him up. His mouth. He opens his mouth up.
Yeah.
Okay. Are you ready for some shit?
Yes. This cream ale, if you haven't had a cream ale, I highly recommend it. Or if you have, it's very good.
I don't recommend it. Grapes.
Dr. Cream.
Basically having a salad. Salad.
I'm basically having a salad. Get that accent.
It's a salad. Hold the lettuce. Hold the dressing. Hold everything. Add grapes. Okay. Sources. BBC. Didn't have an author. Avail News.
Didn't have an author.
Turkey News. It's a Turkey News. NPR. None of these had authors except the one I'll name. Turkish Minute, which obviously is a Turkish paper.
It's a Turkey News.
Wikipedia, kind of. I wrote down Wikipedia before I wrote. So it was all in Turkish and it was translated, but kind of like yours, it was like one paragraph. And I was like, this happened.
We just write Wikipedia before we start researching because we know.
Yeah. That's
just our default.
Al Jazeera, just a paper, which is a Turkish paper, an article by Rahila Mohammed. And Reuters. I'm going to talk about a couple cases today, specifically Emine. Listen, I don't know how to pronounce it. When I try to Google it, everything comes up in Turkish.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's either Emine, like she said, or Emine. So, but it's Emine.
Yeah. And the last name is Bulut.
Bulut, yeah. I'm not sure.
So 430 women were murdered by men in Turkey in 2019.
Ooh.
According to the organization, We Will Stop Femicide. As Sarah said, femicide is the killing of women because they're women. So it's like infanticide, you know, when that was happening in China because they're babies, like whatever their sex, whatever. But So it's not just killing women, it's killing women because they're women.
Oh, I'm glad that you said that. That's really good to distinguish.
The Turkish government and justice system has reportedly been sweeping the high murder rate of women under the rug, which I'll get more into. But their citizens, my